Friends, welcome to Devtastic. So in this video, we will see how to create and run the first Flutter application using Visual Studio Code on macOS. So also we will check out some basic in-terminal commands, so which will be more useful for the developer and also which makes the development easier. So before moving to project creation, let's check some Flutter dependencies, so which are required to run the Flutter mobile app in both Android and iOS. So to do that, let me open the terminal, and from terminal we need to run a command to check that dependencies. So that command goes like Flutter Doctor and hit enter. So this will scan all the dependencies which are required to run the Flutter applications. So as you can see, we've got the output as it checks for Flutter version, Android, toolchain, Xcode, Chrome, Android Studio, VS Code, and connected devices. Devices is nothing but the simulators or emulators, if any, and network resources. So for our development, if you got Android Studio right mark and the Xcode. And anyway, the Cocoa Pods are not required for our development purpose. So if you get the right mark for Android Studio and Chrome and Xcode, I think even Android toolchain, it would be enough. I think we are ready to create the project. So we can create Flutter projects in two ways. So one is using the terminal and commands, and one more is using our Visual Studio itself, Visual Studio Code. So let us create the project using terminal first. For that, what I'll do, I'll open the Visual Studio Code and I will open the terminal inside a Visual Studio Code itself. We can do the same in our terminal also, but for now we will do it from Visual Studio Code. So first we need to navigate to our desired location where the Flutter project should be created. So I will be navigating to documents. Inside the document, I have a folder called Flutter Development, the same folder which we have created for our installation purpose. Inside that, I have created Flutter projects. So let's create our Flutter project in this directory. So to create the Flutter project, so we need to type a command that goes like Flutter create. Now the application name we need to enter. For now, I'll say my first app and I hit enter. So now this is creating our Flutter project. Now that has been created. So now we can navigate to that um, newly created project. Now we are in that directory. To see the folder structure and all, maybe I'll open that same project from the VS Code as well. Go to Flutter projects, my first app. I'll click on open. As you can see now, we have opened our my first app here. It has loaded all the files which are generated as part of Flutter. We'll just take a glance at these files and folders which are created as part of a Flutter project. So now first we have an Android folder. So Flutter code basically converted into native specific code for execution. So whatever the code we write inside this Android will be a platform specific code, that is Android specific code. So which will be required when we are implementing some big tasks like Firebase integration and some Bluetooth or some high level integrations. Then these Android specific code is required. And we have a build folder which contains a compiled code of your Flutter applications so that we can see it in our next videos. And we have a iOS folder. So this is almost similar to Android folder what you have seen. So iOS specific code will be placed inside this iOS folder. And we have a lib folder. So lib folder is very important in our development of mobile applications using Flutter. So this will have a main.dart. So this file is our root file. So this will be the first or entry point to our application. So going forward inside this lib folder, we may create multiple subfolders like component, services, or whatever. So that we will see it later. And we have next folders called Linux, Mac OS and web. So these folders, actually latest version of Flutter contains these folders, but for mobile application development, we can ignore these. And we have a folder called test here. So test is nothing but to uh, write unit test cases for our Flutter application. And we have a Windows folder. Again, this is same as whatever we have seen for Android and iOS. And now we have a git ignore file. So git ignore is nothing but the file which contains a list of files or folders to ignore by the git. So we can modify this folder when wherever necessary. We can add the files or folders which are required to be ignored by git. So now we have a metadata. So metadata stores the project versions and project types. As you can just go through it, you will find all the details in this one. And we have a analysis options.yaml. So we can configure this file to check the errors and warnings. Maybe we can have a look at this file, maybe going forward in other videos. And now we have a myfirstapp.iml. So my first app is nothing but the application name. So if you are creating with a different name, you will see different name here, .iml. So this will have information regarding the various modules used in our project or application. Okay. So the next folder called pubspec.lock. So this is used by pub package manager, basically used for the dependencies. You can open this file and you can explore. So we will have all the dependencies with their versions. And the next file is called pubspec.yaml. So this is a very important file throughout our journey in this Flutter mobile application development. So in this file, we can configure various assets like fonts, images, and also this file is responsible for our package managing or libraries. Okay, and we will be having one readme.md file. So this is nothing but to have our project information and the documentation regarding our application. Okay, so this is the folder structure of Flutter. So now we will try to run this Flutter application. Okay, so that as I mentioned, we will go open the lib folder and main.dart file. So this is the entry point for our application. As you can see, we have a called home, and we have a title for that, and we have some other components or buttons here. So we will directly run this application and see what are all the basic components the Flutter is going to add to our application. Okay, to run this application, we need to use a command called flutter run. So before running that application, so we need to do one more exercise here. So in the bottom right corner, you can able to see this iPhone 16, right? So this is nothing but the simulator which is already available in my machine. So if you already have a simulators and emulators installed and ready to be used, so they will be listed in here. See, you can see we have a Pixel 9 Pro, which is already running, and I have iPhone 16 simulator, which is already running. And also you can able to see this Chrome, Mac OS, and Mac Design for iPad. So for now, mobile application development, you can select this iPhone 16 or you can select Android emulator. So first we'll go with iOS, then I will show you how to run in Android also. So now I will select this iPhone 16 and I'll type that command, that is flutter run, enter. So now this will run our application to the selected device. So now you can see here, so we have a list of devices here. So it is asking which one to choose. I will type 2 because we have iPhone 16 here. I'll click on 2 so that it will launch our application in that particular selected device. It is running Xcode build. So if you have only one device in this list, so it will directly run the application in that device. No need to select among these devices. I think our application is deployed to a simulator. Let me open the simulator. Yes. As you can see, now we have a Flutter demo homepage, text here, we have 0, and we have one button here. So all these are deriving from this main.dart file. Let me do this. Okay. So now what we will do, as in the beginning of this video, I have mentioned we can learn few in terminal commands, right? So as you can see, we have these keys. right? We have R for hot reload, R for, I mean, capital R for restart, and some other commands which are very useful for us. So how these gonna benefit for the developer? For example, now we have one text called you have pushed the button these many times, right? So let me go here. See, here we have that text. So now what I need? So I need to change this text. For example, I clicked on the plus button times. Okay. So now if I need to see this new text in my application, do I need to rerun the app or restart the app? No. That is what the hot reload means. So what I need to do, I need to save this file after changing and come to this terminal and click on R. That's it. So the new code, whatever the changes we have, right? So all the changes will be deployed to the device on the go. As you can see here, I clicked on the plus button this many times. We have 0. So now I'll click on this button. So it keep on changing, right? So now what I'll do, again, I will change this to the previous one, the previous text what we had. Okay, I'll save this. Now, in some cases, what the hot reload is not sufficient, right? We might need restart. So in that case also, there is no need to stop the execution, again running flutter run command. No, that is not required. We can directly save the file, come to the terminal and do a capital R. So the capital R will restart the application in no time. As you can see, now that message is resetted to the previous, and even this button click count also is set to 0. That is default value, right? So this applies to everything, whatever we can see on the UI. As you can see, we have a Flutter demo homepage, right? So for that also we can do the same. And also in the end, I'll add demo and I'll save. I'll come to terminal R. Right? See here, the title got changed to Flutter demo homepage demo. So that is how the hot reload and the hot restart works. And to quit this application or to stop the execution, again come to this terminal and click on Q. That closes our application, and also in the Visual Studio Code, it ends the execution. Okay, so this is how we need to run the Flutter application in iOS simulator. So we can run the same application in Android emulator as well. So to do that, we need to change the settings to Android. So I'll click on this iPhone 16 and here I can select the Android emulator. So now we have two emulators. So I'll select the first one. So now it will launch this emulator also. Okay, so now this pixel is connected. So now I'll again go back to the terminal and I'll run flutter run command. So now, so this will deploy our code to Android emulator. Now again, I got this list, so I will enter one. Yes. So now our application is deployed to Android emulator. I'll open the emulator, as you can see here, right? So the same application is deployed here, and whatever the in terminal commands we have used for iOS, the same will applicable here also. So now this is how you can create your first Flutter application, and you can run it in both Android and iOS. So for any queries or any issues if you face while creating or while running the application, so please put it in the comment section. So I will try to reply for those issues. And please do like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.